So, Silent Hill is one of the more wonderfully inconsistent franchises of our time, I suppose, but that just kind of goes with the survival horror genre. Fans consider some of the games to be golden standards of the genre, shining examples of how to make a good horror game. Fans also can't quite decide what makes a bad Silent Hill, as many conversations around games like Downpour, Homecoming and the likes erupt on forums and YouTube all the time. The games are either brilliant, brilliantly frustrating, or not even real. The movies are a thing. The point is, fans just want to eat, and we have nothing better to do than to talk about the ins and outs of all the old games because Konami have blue-balled fans for years. Silent Hill is in a bad way, with some of the community so jaded and used to disappointment that when presented with actual new content that isn't a pachinko machine, I'm still quite pessimistic about it. This, however, is completely justified. The next sweep of Silent Hill content needs to be banging, because the franchise is likely dead otherwise. Recently in their history, Konami have had 3 strikes when trying to push forward with Silent Hill, a triforce of betrayal, if you will. Konami are out of lives and need a revival quick. I'm sure you already know, but you might be asking, what are these strikes you speak of? Well, let's talk about them. Strike 1, PTSD. After the phenomenal playable teaser that was the PlayStation exclusive PT, fans were ravenous for Silent Hills. Destined to be one of the greatest survival horror games of all time, helmed by Kojima himself and the creative genius that is Del Toro. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask, Kojima and Konami broke up from their increasingly toxic relationship and very much parted ways, as Konami clearly became a company far more interested in easy and cheap to yield profit than heading the next console generation. Kojima would go on to head his own game development company and create things like Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2. Who asked for this? Konami would obviously cling to the rights to Silent Hill and leave PT and Silent Hills in the dust. They literally made Sony remove it from the store and cancelled Silent Hills. It would never come to fruition, and fans were devastated to say the least. This could have been it, the new age of Silent Hill. Now the only remnant is PT, a demo no longer available on the PlayStation Store. To play it, you'd either have to already have it downloaded at the time on your PlayStation 4 before it was taken down and not deleted at any point because you're not getting it back, or you'd have to buy a PlayStation 4 with it already downloaded on. No thanks. Strike 2. I don't even want to talk about this one. Pachinko Gate. When teased that something Silent Hill related was finally coming, the community waited with bated breath, only to be presented with a pachinko machine. At the time, extremely depressing. It's a fairly hilarious trailer in hindsight, with the classic Silent Hill music playing and imagery to just lure you into a false sense of security before it blasts into insane metal music. 100G, rank up 200G, hit the lever!
What exactly is a nightmare?
This, Konami. This is a fucking nightmare. Now just a meme in the community, the Pachinko disaster of 2015 will forever be remembered as the day faith in Konami was finally completely drained. Yikes. Strike 3. Nerfing Pyramid Head's big dumper in Dead by Daylight. When Pyramid Head transitioned from DBD public test build to fully released DLC character, people were quick to mention that Triangle Boy seemed to have a little less junk in the trunk all of a sudden. Behaviour is adamant that this simply isn't the case, but we know the truth. This was a final straw for Silent Hill fans. Okay, I'm done with the bit. Point is, with Silent Hill DLC being some of the last really good content in DBD, at least for me, with a fun and strong enough killer, a good survivor with underrated perks, and a lot of fun skins, fans were just reminded of the glory days, and how Konami might possibly be content just simply shilling the same few buzz characters in here and there to make their money off the franchise, without really progressing it in any meaningful way. We were at least presented with a new slate of Silent Hill content a few months ago to hopefully look forward to, but after all this disappointment, it's hard to be optimistic for the new projects. And frankly, they need to work, or the fans will likely give up on the franchise being treated like the classic it is by Konami forever. Of course, these projects don't seem to have Konami doing a lot of the legwork and don't fully inspire confidence, but I could be totally wrong here. So, the Silent Hill 2 remake. This is developed by Blooper Team, the people behind The Medium and Layers of Fear, and Layers of Fear 2, and Blair Witch. Do with that information what you will. But the game looks good enough, but certainly isn't challenging next-gen consoles with the graphics, and this is before a decent amount of gameplay as well. A few years ago this might have completely done the job, but now it's competing with the likes of the Dead Space remake and the Resident Evil 4 remake. Obviously this is a cheaper game by a smaller company, but I mean, look at that and then look at RE4. I mean, what's going to stick with you? Not to mention a lot of the bleak, empty atmosphere and context of Silent Hill 2 seems to be replaced with press X to sad, and I'm worried they might be overcompensating for the budget. There's also Townfall, which is intriguing and developed by a team with a couple of very interesting games under its belt, but I haven't really seen enough to really comment on it yet. But I'm also sensing a very low budget once again. There's nothing wrong with low budgets, by the way. You can do really impressive things with very little. I just hope Konami isn't asking too much for too little. We have the new movie, being produced by Victor Hedida, producer of the original, and directed by Christoph Gans, also the original director. I realise the movies have their fans, and I will do a full video or two on those things in the future, but I feel like they were just very much a mixed bag. We don't know a lot about this one, but it sounds like it wants to stick very close to the story of Silent Hill 2, and the producer and director do sound generally passionate about making this world work, so I'm happy to give them the benefit of the doubt and put a bit of hope on this one, but you know, video game movies. Don't forget the doggo statue. There's Silent Hill Ascension, which is an interactive visual story? I don't fucking know, man. I'll deal with that when I know what it is. We also don't know much about Silent Hill F, but the trailer was a very appealing new direction for the series, I hear. I can't really watch the second part of it as it aggressively sets off my trypophobia, and I can't look at that shit. So that's an effective trailer at least. I assume it's a visual novel as it's been helmed by Ryokushi Osevin, who's a known horror fiction writer. I look forward to this one if I can watch it. There's a lot of praise in the comments, hoping that Konami finally puts care, attention and respect back into the Silent Hill brand, and we will have to wait and see, but there's certainly content to look forward to here. But if this all doesn't make Konami bank and is received poorly, I don't know if Silent Hill will ever receive this kind of push again. Okay, Konami, let's see if you can raise the dead.
Hit the lever!